So by now you've probably realised that you've got some level of parental burnout. What does this mean? It means you're most likely feeling disconnected, feeling fatigued, feeling run down. You most likely have a lot of competing demands at the moment, finding it hard to balance everything and juggle things, and probably getting frustrated about having to be all for everyone. This can leave you feeling like you're a failure just because you're exhausted. It can cause you to have loneliness and isolation. You might even have headaches from time to time just from that feeling of being burnt out and exhausted. That overload is very common in parenting. In fact, 66% of parents in the US have been found to have parental burnout, and it's most likely the same case in other countries around the world. So this video is all about the 10 things that you can start to do today to help to reduce parental burnout. And we're not going to be talking about the things you most likely get sick of being told, like, oh, why don't you just go and meditate? Or why don't you just reduce your stress levels? Or maybe you should just get some sleep, even though you've got a crying baby that's keeping you awake all night. Yes, these things are effective, but they're not often practical when you become a parent, and particularly when you're already experiencing parental burnout. So we're going to talk about 10 things that you could do that are quite easy to start to reduce that feeling of parental burnout. So these are some of the things we're going to talk about. So number one, we're going to talk about maybe setting a timer for play with your kids. So this is often a thing that we experience as parents, and we think, oh, we just don't have any time, we don't have the energy to be with our kids, and we feel quite disconnected. So if you just set yourself 15, even 5 minutes, but 15 is a good goal, 15 to 30 minutes a day of just sitting with your children and playing, engaging with them, play a card game, do some drawing. Don't watch TV, don't look at the phone, put those things away, just for 15 to 30 minutes. And you say to your kids, look, I've got 15 minutes, we're going to put a timer on it, and this is all I've got. But at least that 15 minutes you are engaged every day. If you do more, it's a bonus. But if you just even commit to that small amount every day, you'll at least feel like for a small period of time you've connected with your child, you've bonded with your child, and you feel like, right, keep going the rest of the day. I feel a bit energized from that. I feel like I've connected again, and we all need connections as human beings. Another thing you can do is to maybe just send your kids a special text message throughout the day, particularly if they're a bit older and they've got their mobile phones, or if they're younger, leave a little note in the lunchbox just to tell them that you love them, tell them that you're thinking of them, or that you're proud of them. Third thing we can do is we can focus on also mentioning some of the good things that they do. So yes, we say, oh, this is great when they've done it, but do we actually go that extra level of making sure that when they do small things that are good, that we focus on those things rather than always telling them what they're doing wrong? And of course we're going to do that when we're exhausted. We're going to be telling them off because they haven't got the room tidy, or they didn't put the shoes on in time, or they haven't brushed their teeth, or we're having to yell at them to get out of the house, or whatever it is, or they haven't done their homework. Or of course, yes, we're going to be doing those things, and it's frustrating and it's exhausting. But if you also do some of the other ones where you're actually doing the reverse and saying, oh, thank you for putting that dish in the kitchen, or that was good how you did your shoes today, or I was really proud of you that you brushed your teeth on time. The times when they are doing the right thing, compliment and tell them that you're proud of them, but also ask, how did you feel doing that task? How did you feel after you were on time? How did that make you feel? So we bring the ability for a child to also develop their own self-worth and self-esteem back to them, rather than them having to always be relying on us to boost them up. So when you remind them about how good they feel from doing the right thing, or doing a good thing, or something that made them feel good, then that makes them really understand that they are in control of their own emotions and in control of their own self-esteem as well. Fourth, we're going to talk about how you can commit to some activities and also say no to other activities. So when you feel run down, often we're saying yes to everything. We're saying, we'll do everything we can to try and please other people. But what we really need to do is we need to say, okay, we're going to commit to some things and we're going to do that consistently, but then we're going to be able to say no to other things that we really don't want to do. That's very important, learning that ability to say, no, not today, or not right now. Another thing we can do is Reduce our expectations. So often what happens when you are a parent is you have very high expectations, which is okay, but we need to have realistic expectations based on what our child is doing at that particular age, so particular development stages, for example. Like for example, if you're expecting a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old to get ready on their own and be ready and rushed and at the door waiting for kinder, it's probably not realistic because they are too young. Yes, it's great and it's a bonus when they do it, but there'll be times when they don't. And rather than getting angry about them not doing it, reduce expectations and say, okay, well, right, I can expect that sometimes they might do it and sometimes they may not. And when they do, it's a bonus. When they're older, I'll have higher expectations, for example. And we need to think about what our expectations are of our children, but also of ourselves. Are you expecting way too much of yourself? Expecting yourself to be more than you should be as a parent. Do what you can, be the best that you can, but don't try and be a perfect person because there is no such thing and you'll just let yourself down. So that's really important, having realistic expectations. Reduce stress by letting go of a simple thing, which is just letting go of the need for acceptance and approval from everyone. So often we spend so much time mentally getting so stressed, worrying about whether someone we don't even know has had a reaction that we don't like. Maybe they don't like me. Maybe they're judging me. Maybe they're looking at me in a funny way. Maybe they're going to judge me. So all that anxiety is our own doing because we're worrying so much about whether we're going to be accepted or whether we're going to be approved, particularly by people we don't even know and we shouldn't even be worrying about. It's just a habit. So how do we actually do that? The first thing we do is we try and catch ourselves out in the moment when we notice those types of thoughts. So the moment you notice yourself worrying about, oh no, I might get in trouble, or oh no, the person might not like me, or they might judge me, catch yourself in that moment because we want to basically say, no, not today. Not today, brain, I'm not doing that. And we want to remind ourselves, hang on, I either don't care, or I shouldn't care, or why do I want to care, or really, I don't need it anymore, even if you just say that reversed statement to yourself. So you catch yourself worrying, the first thing you do is you say, hang on, I let go of my need for approval or acceptance from you. I let go of my need of approval or acceptance from you because you don't need that. We don't need that, particularly with people that we don't know. And we don't even care, really. We're just in a habit of being worried about being judged. So that's a really important thing, and that will reduce that mental stress significantly. The next thing that you can do is you can keep a whiteboard in the kitchen where you start to write down the things that you've got coming up. And this is really important. I'm sure you've got places where you put things to remind yourself of activities, but it's amazing how many mums will say, oh my gosh, I almost forgot about that thing at school, or oh my gosh, I almost forgot about that birthday party, or oh my goodness, I almost forgot about this, because we think, oh, we'll just keep it all in our mind, or we'll just write it here and then we'll remember, or we'll put it in our phone. But we don't look at these places all the time. The one thing we tend to do is look in the kitchen. So if you have a whiteboard near the kitchen that every single time you go to that fridge, you see that whiteboard that reminds you, hey, I've got a birthday coming up on this date, or hey, there's a party coming up, or guess what, there's also an activity at the school and now there's an event, or I have to take my kid to a special game on the weekend, whatever it is, write down everything that you know that's coming up, and then you make a note of what is on this week. So these are things coming up in a section, and in another section you write down what is on this week. That way you'll never forget what's happening. And just that thing of taking it out of your mind and being organised is going to make you feel so good. Also, it's really important that you can ask for help. Ask for help when you need it. Ask for help with little things around the house. Just even the simple fact of putting clothes away and asking kids to actually grab their own things if they're old enough. Or just even putting things in an older kid's bedroom and saying, okay, that needs to be put away, but waiting there until they do it because they probably won't do it, or saying it needs to be done in the next 30 minutes. If you put things in timers for kids, it's much easier to say, look, I want this done in this time, and we're going to really fence it around this particular time here, and that's when I want it to be completed. And you have a discussion about it, you talk about it before you actually go ahead and do it so that there's an agreement that this is going to happen. And it's much better than doing threats and getting angry with our kids if we have some sort of understanding about what the rules are and what are the expectations within the house. And particularly around the house, it's just a small thing, but if you can ask for some sort of help around the home with things that take up so much of your time, that will really help you to reduce that burden that you feel within the home. It's also important to give to yourself. So often we're just giving to everyone. We're giving to everyone and we can feel like, oh my goodness, please just stop asking me to do things. And that can feel quite burdensome. So what we need to do is to go, okay, I need to at least once in a while give to myself. That can be anything. It can be as small as saying twice a year I'm going to go and have a massage. It can be as simple as saying, on the school holidays I'm going to book out one day where I go to the movies on my own and I just go and have a nice coffee or a nice lunch and it's just my time. Or it might even be, no, you know what, every day I need 10 minutes to just sit down, watch whatever show I want, making that 30 minutes to watch whatever show I want and have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or whatever it is, or it's just my time and you don't bother me. When you say to the kids, I don't care what you do for this next half an hour, this is my time. And that's really important, to be able to say, I should be allowed to give to myself every single day, give to myself. And then think also about the things you can ask of yourself that also you can say, well, I need to be able to pause at the times when I'm being asked in the moment to do something and I say yes immediately. So what we often do is we're sitting and standing in the kitchen, for example, we're in the middle of doing something else and we've got 3 kids asking us to do stuff, or we've got our partner asking us to do stuff, or we've got a work commitment and we've got this, and of course that is so overwhelming. You need to be able to take a breath and just go, whew, hang on a second. I should be allowed to say, hang on, not now. I'll do this in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, tomorrow, the next day, put it on my list. I'm not going to deal with this right now. And that's the problem, because when we are just yes people and we just do whenever the moment that we're asked, people have that expectation that we are just going to continue to do that. And then you are on the bottom of the barrel and everyone dumps on top of you and you become exhausted and depleted. So it's really, really important to think about that. To think about all the things that you can do to actually feel your best and reduce parental burnout whenever possible. These are things you can actually put into place straight away. So we'll go through a quick recap. Set a timer to play with your kids, at least 5, 15, 30 minutes every day, whatever you have available. Talk about the timer before you do it, so there's an expectation of how long this is going to last and there's no tears when it's over. Write your kids a special message throughout the day if you can. Leave them a little note, send a text message to really reconnect with them again. Tell them what they're doing well, rather than always focusing on what they're doing wrong. Yes, you have to say those things, but let's balance it out and give you a better relationship. Lower your expectations, make them more realistic about what they can achieve at particular ages. And what are the expectations at home? Keep that very clear. Reduce your stress by letting go of the need for acceptance and approval, particularly for people that you don't really care about and you don't even know. Give yourself time for yourself every single day. Remember, if someone asks you in the moment to do something, you're allowed to pause for a minute and say, not now, or put it on my list, or I'll do it at another time. And just keep running a list of things you've got to do, and don't be overwhelmed by that list. Just do it at your own pace. Unless it's something that's absolutely pressing and urgent that has to go on the top of the list, it's okay to have a running list. Keep a whiteboard in the kitchen of things that you have to do, the commitments that have got coming up, so that you won't forget and won't be frustrated with yourself or feel like you're failing because you're forgetting things that are important. Remember, it's okay to say no when people ask you to do things. You don't have to always say yes. Ask for help whenever you can. Then commit to some activities, but don't commit to everything. It's okay to say, I'm not going to commit to all of these things. I'm allowed to say, I don't want to do this, or this isn't for me. Put yourself first whenever you can. You can still be a fantastic parent, a great person at work, a great friend, a great partner by saying, I'm happy to give, but I also need to give to myself. We do this when we're looking at aged care, for example. When we have a carer, the carer needs to have respite to be able to feel refreshed in order to be able to continue to care. Well, as a parent, you're often in a care responsibility. Regardless of the situation, when you're a parent, you're in a care responsibility. So as that, you need to then take a respite for yourself to be able to recharge and have the energy to give in your home life and in your professional life if you're working as well. So these are just the things that you can do to put into place to start to reduce parental burnout. It's important to just start with just one thing. What can I do this week? And then start and build from there. If you're experiencing severe parental burnout that's really causing you to feel depressed and anxious, please don't wait to get help. Call one of the helplines like Panda, like Cope. It's really important to actually go and get professional help. If you're feeling like you're burnt out and overwhelmed, but you're not at that stage of really feeling down, then it's time to book in a call with us at Help for Mums. This is our expertise. We are experts in helping parents that are burnt out, exhausted, that really want just some support to be able to learn really good skills to improve your life, to feel your best, and to really be able to cope much better and thrive in parenting rather than just feeling like you're just getting through the motions and every day feels the same. And you feel like you're constantly failing, you're feeling so much of that overload, feeling exhausted, extended, worn out, and just fatigued. And you just feel like you're just sick of it. Also, it's difficult to enjoy being with your kids when you feel like this, and that is why you became a parent in the first place, to actually enjoy being with them. It shouldn't be a burden, but it feels like a burden when we are just expecting so much of ourselves, when we don't give ourselves a break, and we don't even know where to go to get a break. So if we put some of these things into place, you'll start to feel that release. Start to feel like, okay, I can get through my day without feeling like I'm completely losing it or I've lost my self-confidence. And this is where you make the beginning. Book in a free call with us. We'll have a chat with you to see if we're a good fit, to see if we can help you, and we'll take it from there. So have a look at the Help for Mums website at www.helpformums.com, and we'll be in touch very soon too. Have a great day.